So in this course, we use the students are going to be using Adobe Lightroom. So that is a software program that Adobe put out, and Lightroom is, essentially it's the main standard used in the photographic industry for image management. So managing your files of photos, and also editing and just fixing up images. So the course uses Lightroom throughout the whole course, and so it begins beginning in level 1. So within the first level, students will start to learn how to use Lightroom, and we have instructional videos on how to use it. So they'll learn how to use Lightroom for image editing, how to adjust the tone, contrast, color, file management, processing of images, etc. So it's important to note that Photoshop isn't used in the course. So if you have students saying, well, I don't have Lightroom, but I do have Photoshop, can I complete the course? The reality is they will need Lightroom to be able to edit and adjust their photos. So Lightroom is a step up from generic camera software. So most DSLR cameras come with software that you can do some of these things, but Lightroom is the standard for any semi-serious or aspiring professional photographer. And if you look at the reviews out there, PC Magazine gave Lightroom 4.5 out of 5. And basically they say it's the must-have application for anybody who's serious about digital photography. It's the tool of choice for professional and aspiring photographers who need a way to import, organize, tweak and output large numbers of high-resolution files. So it's an important part of the course. The way to access Lightroom for students, you can purchase Lightroom from the Adobe website for $99, and that gives you Lightroom for life. You have the software for good, or you can subscribe to the photographer bundle plan from the Adobe website, which is $9.99 a month. This also includes Photoshop, so if students do want to get into Photoshop, they can purchase it in the photographer bundle from Adobe. And then there are also other ways to access Lightroom. If you do go on Amazon or eBay and do a search, you can find the software there for much cheaper than what it's being offered from Adobe. And if students can get a secondhand copy from somewhere, that's perfectly fine. We also are looking into ways in which we can do a deal with Adobe to get access to Lightroom. So I'll keep you posted on that. So the entry requirements to get into the course, well, essentially there are no education requirements. It's an unaccredited course, so there's nothing we require from students to enroll except for the English language requirement. So there is a literacy requirement. We do require students to have completed Year 10, and this is because to have completed English at the Year 10 level. And this is because there are some writing assignments in the course in that students will need to explain the rationale behind the photos that they've taken. They won't need to write any essays or anything, but it is important that they have a certain level of literacy. And this can be the equivalent for Year 10. Can be our standard equivalent of 2 years work experience or a Certificate 2 qualification or higher. The minimum age is 16, so anyone under 18 will obviously need parent approval to enroll in the course, as is standard. And then the computer requirements for the course are pretty standard as well. So check the course brochure for the exact requirements for computers. But there's no other special equipment that students will need except for a digital single lens reflex camera or a DSLR camera. So as I mentioned before, students will need a DSLR camera to complete the course. A lot of the course material and assignments are based around using the settings on a DSLR camera. It doesn't matter which brand, and it's the only stipulation is that the camera needs to include a zoom or an interchangeable lens. So a point and shoot camera won't really work in this, and neither will obviously a smartphone, like an iPhone or a Samsung. It is a photography course using a DSLR camera. We recommend that they do have the camera software that comes with the camera, which is just useful for transferring image files from the camera to to the computer. Now, if a student is going to be borrowing somebody else's DSLR to complete this course, it's important just to advise them to see if they can access this software as well, because part of the course is also downloading the images and actually editing them on the computer. So they will need a mechanism to do that. So students can use a tripod if they like throughout the course, but it's not essential. So they don't need to go and buy a tripod. If they have one, or if they want to buy one, that's perfectly fine. Same with lighting equipment. So while we have modules related to lighting, they don't need to hire any specialized lighting equipment. So this is a difference between the Certificate 4 in design specializing in photography, where lighting is recommended to be hired at the end of the course. In this course, it's not necessary. Again, they can choose to do it if they like, but they won't need to have it to complete the assignments. Other details about the course. So the actual certificate that a student will receive is called an Open Colleges Professional Certificate in Digital Photography. So that's what's going to be on the certificate that they receive when they graduate. As I've mentioned a few times, this course is non-accredited and it's not nationally recognised. So it's a professional certificate that Open Colleges is awarding. It's not a statement of attainment. And it doesn't include units of competency. So it's important to realise that. Students have 12 months to complete the course, and we estimate that they'll complete within 12 months easily by studying 3 or 4 hours a week. But we actually think that depending on the level of the student, there'll be some students who are a little more advanced and might get through the course in a much quicker duration. So the graduates of the course receive guaranteed entry into the Certificate 4 in Design specialising in photography. So because the course is non-accredited and doesn't include units of competency, there's no direct credit into that course, into the Certificate 4. However, anybody who completes the course will automatically meet the requirements for the Certificate 4 in Design specialising in photography.